Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. And let's share the hymn and the prayer of a great man whose father given his life defending pluralism and who sacrificed the life of his sons for pluralism. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. As moderator was telling you, I come from the land of the Gurus, a land which was blessed because Guru Nanak born there. And it's very, very recent phenomenon that Sikh thinks that Guru Nanak is there. Before the transfer of power in India in 1947, Guru Nanak wasn't the Sikhs' Guru only. He was equally significant for Muslims. So I've heard from my forefathers and from the older generation, Baba Nanak Shah Fakir, Sikhan da Guru Musalmanan da Peer, which means Guru Nanak, the first Sikh master, the holy saints for Muslims, and the Gurus for the Sikhs. And I think today's conference is another chapter in the mission of Guru Nanak, the man who traveled 40,000 miles in his lifetime, from Punjab to Vatican, from Vatican to Baghdad, to Ottoman Empire, to Mecca, just to do with this mission of engaging in dialogues with others. I always urge upon our Sikh community that in the life of Guru Nanak we have the greatest example of interfaith dialogue. The whole purpose of Udasis, we might have thought it theologically differently, but I understood all Udasis of Guru Nanak, all his travels was about engaging with others, talking to others, inclusion, dialoguing, understanding from others. That was the base Guru Nanak has provided for interfaith dialogue. When it comes to the peace, it's in the Guru Granth Sahib. No one is my enemy, no one is foreigner. With all I am at peace. God within us render us incapable of hate and prejudice. And the fifth master, Guru Arjan Dev, said, that is peace and joy at home, peace and joy in the world around. And that is very much the Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And the same in John, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, I don't give to you as the world gives. And Guru Nanak, he was the founder of the pluralistic society, but of one common humanity. In his time, there was no one else other than him who talked about one common humanity. These are the concepts we are exploring now in the 20th and 21st century after so many wars and conflicts. But it was Guru Nanak who said, na ko Hindu, na Musalman. By that he meant, and also in Guru Granth Sahib, Kabir says, God at first, as we have heard the recitation this morning from these young kids, Aval Allah Nur Upaya, Kudrat ke sab bande. God at first created his light, then all people were made for it, as the entire world. So this one light, where there is no one inferior and there is no one superior, it comes from Sikhi. And in Sikhism, there is no difference amongst the common humans based on caste, creed, sectional or religious differences. It's a casteless, it's a society created by Sikhi. Guru Nanak looked beyond internal and external divisions, distinctions, and fundamental unity of mankind was his mission. And there was no sex, caste, creed, color limitations in Sikhi. As in Gurbani, it is very clear, call everyone high, noble, for none seems low, as God is the only potter. These are the words of the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Sahib. So when we look at this all common humanity, and when we look at all of this goodness of the theology, then does it make our job very easy? We live in the pluralistic society, and there is no core faith or belief or text which doesn't call for common humanity. Then why we have violence? Then why there is a conflict in the world? It clearly illustrates something has gone wrong with the faith communities. What has gone wrong? What are the challenges? Because I reflected about the core text of Sikhism, reflected about the core beliefs of Christianity. But we need to reflect on some of the core issues. What are the challenges? And ladies and gentlemen, the first challenge, I think, for all the faith communities is the misrepresentation of the faith, and the misrepresentation of the faith theology, and the misrepresentation of the faith as way of life. If that misrepresentation wasn't there, then we wouldn't have any Christchurch attacks. If that misrepresentation of faith wasn't there, then we wouldn't have seen Christians genocide and Yazidis genocide in the Middle East. And if that misrepresentation of the faith wasn't there, we wouldn't have seen Oslo massacre. But the problem is this, ladies and gentlemen, the faith leaders, we are not playing that role to come on the forefront as faith communities to stop that misrepresentation of faith and tell those who divide us across the faith lines that not in our name. You do not represent us. You may represent your selfish motives of dividing, spreading hatred and disunity, but you do not represent us. And I want to see that challenge met by all of you by telling and sending a clear message out that you cannot represent our faiths. The second challenge, which is quite common, and when you look at the world history, when you look at the communities and if you have the knowledge of it, there is a lot of common good and commonalities between Christianity and Sikhism. But there are common challenges and common circumstances, ladies and gentlemen. Being on the UN Advisory Board, I have a lot of access to different statistics. And with a lot of sadness, I must say Christianity today is the world's largest persecuted faith on planet Earth, where thousands of Christians are being persecuted on a daily basis. We have reliable data which suggests that recently Christians were targeted in 144 countries, and it is a rise of 125% in the recent days. We have seen recently that the Christianity is not a European faith. It isn't originated from Europe. It originated from Middle East. Jesus was a Middle Eastern man, would probably look more brown like me or like Tanel. However, Christianity now is very strong rooted in Europe, but it is very unfortunate and sad that Christianity is losing its roots in the Middle East, and it has been withered away from its lands in Iraq and elsewhere in Middle East. Similar situation with the Sikhs. Sikhs, they come from Punjab, but the transfer of power meant that 33% of the Sikh community has to be relocated through a mass murder, which happened due to mismanagement of the transfer of power. And the whole Sikh dynamics in that region where they come from completely changed. The US Senate has recently recognized the Christian genocide in Iraq, but Sikhs have faced a similar situation of genocide in India from 1984 till 1996. Could you imagine the level of atrocity crimes against the Sikhs, ladies and gentlemen, that Government of India's on record states 4,000 plus, and they were actually much more than 4,000. 4,000 people lost their life in 3 days in November 1984, which counts for more than one life each minute. So this is the level of atrocity and genocide against these two communities. The Christians can find justice because they have the say in the system. They can work toward reconciliation. They can talk about peace and achieving peace. But peace cannot be achieved without justice. I can stand here and can talk about peace for hours and hours and giving you various theories of peace. But peace and reconciliation comes when an aggressor recognizes the atrocity against the oppressors and settle those and enter into dialogue and constructive discussion and address the grassroots issues. As if we don't have peace internally, we'll never have peace externally. We need to have peace within ourselves. And now a few things I want to say to my Sikh brethren. Don't consider a Muslim is talking to you. Consider myself a part of you. Because I think anyone who stands by the Guru's Siddhant is a Sikh. Sikh is a learner, and anybody can be a learner without wearing a turban, without having a beard, or without wearing 5 kakars. The first thing we should learn to have peace within us, within the Sikhs, is to going back to Guru Nanak's teaching, who condemned all the caste, creed, color. But I see that caste coming in again. I still see that Dalits are being persecuted in India. I can still see that there is no or very less place for Dalits in the Sikh community. These number of Sikhs have been much more if we would have welcomed the Dalits within the Sikh community and told them about that concept of equality, above the caste, above the creed, above the color. So that is the first challenge we need to address, that we need to go back to the teaching of Guru Nanak, to present him to you, to come out of this caste, creed and religion. We also talk about acceptability. Sikhism is becoming a global faith. It is not a faith of Punjab alone. It has moved out from Punjab. It is now the faith of many nations across the world. The other faiths, specifically Christianity, has addressed all these issues of gender equality, of LGBT, of who is the man of faith, whether somebody who doesn't appear to wear the cloaks of a faith could be man of faith or not. But we are still struggling with these issues. We are busy excluding people from our faith instead of bringing them into our faith. Wearings are very important. They are part of religion, but religion is not only about certain wearings. Hence, Sikhs needs to address this question of inclusion of the people who doesn't wear 5 kakar, the women, and to put them in the roles of the faith leadership. That is the biggest challenge for us. The third thing is against the issue of globalization. Globalization is at a level which has hit other faiths as well. For example, Islam is not a faith of one particular country, of one particular race. So is the Christianity. It has gone to so many countries, so many regions, and it has a lot of cultural influence. Sikhi is going through that experience very, very recently. It's a new phenomenon probably for you, but you need to look at other faith denominations. When they become globalized, how they have the acceptability of the global culture in their faith practices, and that needs to be incorporated in the Sikhi. That is quite a challenge for you to adopt. We always talk about one humanity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very passionate about that as well. We are all humans. We are humans, but we have our identity as well. When it comes to one common humanity and the big slogans of peace and love, we negate people's identity. We negate their faith beliefs, and we want to suppress them on the name of one common humanity. Hence, that has happened in Pakistan, where Christians are not allowed to enter into certain practices. They are sent to jails, where the freedom of religion is denied to them, where Hindu women are abducted and converted to Islam, unfortunately. And same is the situation in India, where Sikhs today are not recognized as a separate religious entity. That is not a thing in society, but that's a thing in constitution. I was commissioned to write a report by United States State Department about the constitutional and legal challenges faced by the minorities in India, and I identified, even till today, the world's largest democracy's constitution, section 25, explanation 2B, classifies Sikhs as Hindus. And that has given birth to so many conflicts, whether it's the Sikhs' personal laws, whether it's the registration of the Sikh marriage under Anand Karij Act, it is still being registered under the Hindu Marriage Act. So those issues need to be addressed. But it all is how we engage with these issues. I would like to conclude this with my Sikh brethren. We need to come out of victimhood. Wherever I go, I listen to the stories. I've seen those stories, I feel your pain. I have met those widows in Delhi. I have met those women who were raped, not in the riots, but in the Sikh genocide. But we need to come out of the victimhood. It has happened with you, but we'll never let it happen again. As someone else has adopted this, never again. So it should be never again for the Sikhs again. And also, I want to call upon the World Council of Churches, as I mentioned earlier. When others are in pain, you need to stand with them. You need to voice for them. Those who have been marginalized, those who have no say in the system, you need to stand for them. I can tell you one thing with confidence. On 24th of July 2014, when the tomb of Prophet Jonah, who is a celebrated prophet for Christians, for Muslims, and for Jews, was demolished by ISIS, the world cried, and the world took notice. If the world had taken the notice when the Barca was attacked and demolished in the same way, the Prophet Jonah's tomb wouldn't have been destroyed. We have recently seen people talking about the desecrations of the churches in China, where the crosses are being removed, where the churches are being demolished, and desecration is taking place of the Bible. But if the same world would have talked about the desecration of Guru Granth Sahib in Punjab only very recently, this wouldn't have taken place. Because when it's one common humanity, it's one common grief as well. It's one common misery as well. And hence it should convert to one common action. And thank you all.